In our world, a wedding invitation means free cake and bad dancing. In Westeros, it means you have been summoned to a battlefield of flowers. The moment that letter arrives, you have a problem with no safe answer. Attendance is rarely voluntary. If you go, you risk the meat being poisoned or the doors being locked. If you refuse, you offend someone powerful enough to make dying look like the polite option. Great houses use invitations to test loyalty. A scroll from a Lannister or a Frey measures whether you still respect their banners, or if you've begun to fear their neighbors more. Before the first toast is even poured, you are a hostage in a geopolitical game. You are forced to choose between the public danger of the wedding hall or the private danger of your own home. Once you arrive, your survival depends on how well you can read a room. In Westeros, fashion is a survival metric. Every color and embroidered sigil functions as a legal statement of your political allegiance. If you wear stark gray at the wrong table, you look like a rebel. If you wear something neutral, everyone knows you're just waiting to see who wins the war. You spend the first hour of the feast counting enemies and historical grudges: the uncle whose land was stolen, the lady hiding a murder plot, and the suspiciously smiling guarded lord. This diagram shows how the room itself is a map of future violence. The heat map colors highlight danger zones near high-status seats. Your proximity to the king or the exit tells you exactly how much the host trusts you, or how easily you can be replaced. Before anyone speaks a word, your clothes and your chair have already locked you into a role for the coming conflict. The feast is an intentional illusion. Tables covered in roasted meat and expensive wine are designed to lower your defenses and make you believe, for one brief second, that you were invited to celebrate. The food itself is a trap. If you don't drink, the host may think you distrust them. If you do drink, you risk trusting the wrong person. In Westeros, the feast is where the danger gets plated. Then there's the music. The musicians control the tempo of the room, and a shift in melody can serve as an execution order. When the band stops playing cheerful music and starts The Rains of Castamere, the song becomes a confession that hospitality has just died. You are supposed to be protected by guest right, the sacred rule of bread and salt. It's a tradition that lets a violent society pretend it still has a floor beneath it. But rules only protect you if the person with the knives still cares about shame. The entire feast is a psychological mechanism. It creates a temporary sense of peace, specifically so the host can find you without your armor on. You aren't witnessing a romance, you're watching a treaty with jewelry. The bride and groom are often the least free people in the room, human collateral used to repair an insult or secure an alliance. Even your reaction to the speeches is dangerous. Every toast has layers. If you laugh at the wrong insult, you make an enemy. If you sit silently when the winning side makes a joke, you make a worse one. Children are watching all of this. They learn that feasts are traps, and that adults talk about honor right before violating it. You aren't giving them a memory, you're giving them an education in paranoia. The armed men by the walls aren't there for you. They are there to protect the host's conspiracy. When the order comes to lock the doors, the guards effectively turn the walls into a cage. Royal weddings amplify the risk. Joffrey and Marjorie's wedding was a performance of dominance, turning a feast into a stage for public humiliation, and eventually a courtroom where every guest became a suspect before the cake was served. Every guest is forced to participate in a system designed to entrap them. You clap because the alternative is admitting you know exactly what is about to happen. Surviving the night is only the first step. The real danger of a Westerosi wedding is the political chain reaction that begins once the blood is cleaned up. Mere proximity to historical violence can ruin a minor house. Witnesses are useful until they become inconvenient, and survivors are often forced to choose a side in a story they never wanted to be part of. This is the after-party, a frantic rearranging of power. Ravens fly as enemies become allies to divide the spoils. A single betrayal redraws who owns which castle, who commands which army, and who gets executed before dawn. The ceremony merely pulls the pin on a grenade. Long after the tables are cleared, the political shockwaves continue to topple houses across the continent. There is a dark irony in these slaughters occurring under the watch of the gods. Families swear holy vows they do not mean, while preparing to violate the most sacred laws of hospitality. A wedding forces all the major levers of society: the pursuit of money, the power of religion, inheritance, and bloody revenge, all into one room. For a few hours, everyone pretends those forces are harmonious, but the hidden reality is all fracture. These events do not interrupt the politics of the realm. They reveal the realm's true, unarmored nature. It is simply war in formal clothes. A Westerosi wedding simply means enemies have agreed to be in the same room. Your only real job as an ordinary guest is to somehow survive until the heavy wooden doors finally reopen.